In the world of automobiles, age isn't just a number. It's a story, a legend, a heartbeat frozen in metal and chrome. And every once in a while, these legends resurface rolling out under the bright stage lights of the world's greatest auction houses, commanding jaw-dropping bids and setting new records. Today, we're counting down the top 5 vintage cars that are not just famous but exploding in value at auctions right now. These aren't just cars, they're time capsules, they're mechanical masterpieces. They're the kind of machines that make billionaires sit up straight, sharpen their pencils, and whisper to their agents, "Don't let me lose this one." So, buckle in, because these cars didn't just define their eras, they rewrote the rules of automotive history. Vintage cars aren't just vehicles, they're chapters of human imagination. They carry the fingerprints of the engineers who built them. The 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 isn't just a Carrizza Pulse, a presence. The kind of machine that announces itself before it's even seen. The kind of machine that makes your heart shift gears just hearing its name. When this car enters an auction hall, the room goes silent, not out of respect, but out of awe. The Shelby GT500 is the perfect blend of Hollywood charisma, real-world racing heritage, and untouchable vintage value. It's the sort of car that doesn't just get auctioned, it gets worshipped. To understand why this car dominates auctions today, we must go back to the man behind the badge, Carroll Shelby. A man who didn't just build cars, he built legends. Every machine he touched was infused with the same personality he had. Bold, fearless, uncompromising. And the 1967 GT500 was the moment his vision collided perfectly with America's thirst for power. The 1967 model year marked the first major redesign of the Mustang since its explosive debut. Ford had created a sensation, millions sold, a cultural storm, an automotive phenomenon. But Shelby wanted more. He wanted to turn the Mustang from a popular pony car into a true predator. And so, the GT500 was born, bigger, meaner, heavier, and infinitely more powerful than anything Ford had ever dared to sell. Under the hood lived something terrifyingly wonderful. This was an engine originally designed for high-speed pursuit, for law enforcement that needed unmatched power. Shelby took that foundation, added his signature upgrades, and created something that pushed boundaries. With dual 4-barrel carburetors, reinforced internals, and the unmistakable Shelby tuning magic, the GT500 roared with over 355 horsepower, far more than Ford publicly admitted at the time. But numbers alone don't explain why today's collectors pay 6 and 7 figures for clean examples. The magic of the GT500 is emotional, it's cinematic, it's deeply connected to the idea of American freedom, the open road, the rebellious spirit, the roar of a V8 echoing through wide desert highways. If there is one car that makes even billionaires pause before they raise a bidding paddle, it is the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. This is not just a classic, it is not just a collectible, it is a crown jewel of human engineering. The automotive equivalent of a rare painting by a master built in microscopic numbers. Raced by legends and pursued today with an obsession that borders on reverence. Whenever a 250 GTO appears at an auction, something that happens maybe once every few years, the crowd doesn't just watch, they witness. Because this car isn't auctioned like the others, it is unveiled, it is presented, it is admired as though it were a sacred object returning from exile. And in many ways, it is. With only 36 ever built, each GTO is a passport into an elite world of collectors, where ownership is not just a privilege, but a status that money alone cannot always buy. The GTO's origin is a story woven into racing mythology. Ferrari built it with a single ruthless purpose: win the World GT Championships, and it did, over and over. Its 3.0-liter V12s, small, compact, and beautifully engineered, sang with a sound so pure that mechanics described it as music made of metal. producing around 300 horsepower. The engine thrust the lightweight chassis forward with a fury that humbled its rivals. But the secret wasn't just power, it was balance. Every component of the GTO worked in perfect harmony, as if Enzo Ferrari himself had sculpted it from intuition rather than machinery. Then there is the design and aerodynamic masterpiece, shaped by both art and necessity. The long nose, the sculpted fenders, the sweeping roofline, the triple vents under the Gry livery curve serves a purpose. There is no excess, no decoration. It is raw beauty, form born directly from function. Even today, designers study the GTO not as a relic, but as a lesson in how simplicity can be breathtaking. But what truly pushes the GTO into a realm of its own is its racing pedigree. These cars weren't garage queens, they were warriors. They competed at Le Mans, at Sebring, on mountain passes and legendary circuits around the world. Many earned scars, dents, cracks, worn panels that today are considered priceless battle marks. A well-documented racing history. There are muscle cars. And then there is the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, a machine that didn't just join the American performance war. It charged onto the battlefield with a clenched fist and a roar that echoed across generations. When collectors spot a pristine 69 Z28 rolling into an auction hall, something changes in the room. The energy tightens. People lean in, because the Z28 is more than a car, it's a declaration of attitude. Born for the Trans Am Racing Series, the Z28 wasn't built for straight-line drag, bragging like many of its muscle rivals. No, this one was engineered for corners, for balance, for a type of racing finesse America had never seen before. Under its muscular, chiseled body sat a 302 cubic inch high-revving, small-block V8, a masterpiece designed specifically to meet racing regulations. On paper, Chevrolet rated it at 290 horsepower. In reality, with proper tuning, it produced far more, some say close to 360 horsepower at screaming RPMs. But the raw numbers only tell part of the story. This engine didn't rumble, it howled, it begged to be pushed. It came alive only when you dared to dance with it near the red line. And that's what made the Z28 so different. It wasn't just built for speed, it was built for skill. It demanded a driver who understood rhythm, weight transfer, and precision. In a world of brute force muscle, the Z28 was elegance wrapped in aggression. Collectors adore the '69 model year because it delivered the Camaro at its stylistic peak. Deep-set headlights under the aggressive grille, sculpted fenders, rising haunches, and the unmistakable rally stripes stretching across the hood, it has the stance of a predator about to pounce. At auctions, those stripes alone trigger nostalgia in anyone who lived through the late '60s, when car culture was more than excitement, it was identity. But there's another layer to the Z28's fame: scarcity. Many buyers in 1969 wanted big blocks, not the higher-revving 302. That means fewer Z28s were made compared to SS big block cars. And today, original matching number Z28s are prized like gemstones. Auction experts study them with surgical precision, checking factory stampings, verifying DZ-coded engines, and inspecting every badge and trim line. Because one authentic Z28 can spark a bidding war that ends in six figures without hesitation. And then there's the emotional weight. The Z28 represents the last era when American performance cars were still mechanical muscles, unfiltered by computers or electronics. A time when racing influence flowed directly from the track to the street. When you drive a Z28, you feel the steering tug, the chassis flex, the engine's heartbeat. It is tactile, it is alive. And that feeling, raw, pure, and unmistakably American is. It stands there like a sculpture, sleek, impossibly elegant, and timeless in a way very few machines can claim to be. The 1957 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing is not just a car. It is a moment in history when engineering and art became indistinguishable. Every time one appears at an auction, there is a shift in the atmosphere. People straighten up, conversations soften, expert collectors lean forward. The 300SL isn't simply valuable, it is sacred. The Gullwing was born from racing. In the early 1950s, Mercedes dominated motorsport with a lightweight aerodynamic racer that shocked the world. When enthusiasts begged for a production version, Mercedes delivered something even more extraordinary: a road-legal supercar, decades ahead of its time. It was futuristic in design, savage in performance, and wrapped in a body so beautiful that even non-car lovers recognize it instantly. Those famous upward-lifting doors weren't designed for style, they were a necessity. The SL's pioneering tubular space frame sat high on the sides, making traditional doors impossible. So, Mercedes engineered a solution that accidentally became one of the most iconic design elements in automotive history. Watching them open at an auction is like watching a rare bird spread its wings, slow, proud, theatrical. It's a moment bidders never forget. Under its long, graceful hood lies a 3.0-liter straight-six engine with mechanical direct injection technology, unheard of in production cars of the time. It produced around 215 horsepower, enough to make it the fastest production car on Earth in the 1950s. That title alone makes it legendary. But the driving experience is what transforms fascination into obsession. The Gullwing doesn't glide, it slices through air. It doesn't accelerate. It leaps forward with the athletic energy of a trained sprinter. Collectors chase this car because it represents perfection, engineering excellence, racing heritage, Hollywood glamour. Steve Jobs owned one. Ralph Lauren owns one. Royal families collect them. When a Gullwing enters an auction hall, it doesn't just attract car lovers, it attracts investors, art collectors, and historians. And the prices reflect that. Clean examples regularly climb past several $1 million. Some cars grow old. Some cars become rare. But only a few transform into legends that shake auction halls decades later. And the 1970 Dodge Charger RT Hemi is one of them. When this car rolls into an auction space, it doesn't simply enter. It announces itself. A deep, thunderous presence sweeps through the room. The kind of presence that makes collectors turn their heads before they even see it. Because the Charger Hemi is not merely a muscle car, it is the final, fierce heartbeat of America's golden horsepower era. The 1970 model year sharpened the Charger into its most intimidating form. Long, wide, aggressive, with a stance that looked carved from raw steel, that split grille, those hidden headlights. The famous Coke bottle side profile. This was a machine designed to look fast, even when parked, designed to make other cars feel nervous. But the real magic lives under the hood. A 426 cubic inch Hemi V8, nicknamed the Elephant Engine because of its massive size and unstoppable power. Producing a conservative factory rating of 425 horsepower, but, in truth, capable of far more. It transformed the Charger from a muscle car into a street monster. The Hemi didn't growl like other engines. It thundered, a deep, shaking rumble that collectors still describe as the sound of America. This engine wasn't built for the casual driver. It was built for racers, thrill-seekers, and brave souls who understood what it meant to control something barely tameable. And in the 70s, only a handful of buyers were daring enough. That is why today, authentic Hemi Charger RTs are among the rarest and most valuable muscle cars on the planet. At auctions, you can spot the shift in the room the moment a real Hemi car is announced. Experts move closer. Appraisers bring out flashlights and reference books. They check the stampings, the VIN, the fender tags, because a true Hemi Charger can ignite bidding wars that reach well into the high six-figure range, sometimes even crossing into the $1 million territory for pristine matching numbers. Examples: collectors don't chase this car just for speed. They chase it because the Charger Hemi represents the final, unapologetic scream of unrestricted American engineering. It came from a time when the automotive world believed in excess, in emotion, in the raw thrill of a wide-open throttle. A time before regulations, before downsizing, before electronics softened the edges of driving. And then there's the cultural impact. From movies to television to drag racing history, the Charger became a symbol of untamed rebellion. It was the car that heroes drove and villains feared. That long hood and muscular silhouette became an icon of 70s power and attitude, something no modern car, no matter how fast, can truly replicate. So when a 1970 Dodge Charger RT Hemi rolls onto an auction floor, it carries more than metal and horsepower. It carries memories, dreams.